start, sir? Hello, shall we start, sir?
Yep, you can. I'm ready. I've already shared my screen.
Okay, yeah. So, hello everyone. Welcome all. I am Archie from the team of CISA Council. I welcome you all to the webinar for Cryptography Demystified Practical Insight for CISA Auditors. CISA Council is a non-for-profit organization aiming to empower individuals and organizations through the promotion of skills training and certification. CISA Council promotes various training and certification programs like Associate Information Systems Auditor, CISA, CISM, Risk Prep Training, ISO 27001 Lead Auditor, Associate Cybersecurity Analyst, CISSP Prep Training, and many more. Within 1 year of establishment, CISA Council has educated and trained 2,500 plus professionals from 55 countries, more than 125 global enterprises, out of which 30 plus are of Fortune 500 companies. Thank you for your trust on CISA Council. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Ajit Pal Singh. He is the estimated speaker for today's webinar. He is a cybersecurity expert with over 20 years of experience in security leadership, cybersecurity management, IT security auditing. Mr. Ajit Pal has successfully led over 500 impactful training programs equipping more than 5,000 professionals with the skills to master information security and risk management. His expertise span across risk and compliances, cloud security, vulnerability management, and third-party risk management. As an ISACA accredited instructor and ISC Square authorized faculty, his dedication to delivering both theoretical knowledge and practical insight is exceptional. Best wishes to all the participants. Ajit sir, over to you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Isha. Thank you, Raghav, for uh, giving me an opportunity to speak on this forum where 100 plus participants are there listening to me. Hey, everyone. My name is Ajit Pal Singh Vathavan. I'm based out of Delhi. Okay. And so for this, the purpose of this 1 hour webinar is to take you through cryptography. We will not be able to go into details of algorithms and all. So we will be looking at what cryptography is, the kind of introduction. Then we will look at how cryptography is being used in our day-to-day life, and what is the role of an auditor in cryptography analysis and standards. So let's start now. Okay, so introduction. So for this 1 hour, we may extend it by 5-10 minutes. It's okay with me. So I will take you through what is an introduction. It's my introduction. Already Isha has given the introduction. Then what is cryptography? What are the vulnerabilities of it? What are controls? And what is the IS auditor role in cryptography? Because we will, just like when I take classes, I talk about cryptography, but main purpose when we are working or when we are studying is when we are studying CISA. So the main purpose of learning those cryptographic controls is to understand that how it is important from compliance perspective. So that is what we will look into this. What that is what we will be covering into this session along with it. So already Isha has given my introduction. So my name is Ajit Pal Singh Vathavan. I'm based out of Delhi, but yes, I belongs to a central city of India, Jabalpur, born and brought up, educated from there. 20 plus years of experience in professional training, conducted 500 classes now, not 250 is an old number, long way back. I've not updated here in this slide. Done a lot of certifications, CISA, CISA. For CISA and ISACA, I would say especially CISA and CISA, my old kid in the block, gold member of ISACA, completed my certification in 2010, wrote my examination in 2010, long way back, 14 years ago. I'm an IC2 authorized trainer for CSSP and CCSP, and ISACA authorized trainer for CISA, CISM, and CRIS. Did a lot of certifications, which is helping me in training as well as in corporate world. So this is about me. So let's understand what is cryptography and why it is important. So let's look at this scenario. Consider an example where Charles requests Alice. Charles is a sender and Alice is a receiver. Charles requests Alice to lend him some money. He shares his bank account detail with her through an insecure connection. So as of now, we consider that they are exchanging the information in a clear text format. So there is an adversary sitting over here, retrieves the data, modifies the account data. So if you look at account 123476, there's adversary sitting in between, and it is modifying the data to 237688, which is of adversary account. So lot my times, if you see, if you are doing a if you are doing a web communication, if there is a web communication going through an HTTP, so which means that an adversary can easily retrieve your detail. So there are certain protocols like HTTP, FTP, Telnet, which exchanges information in a clear text format. So this kind of, if you're using those protocols in your real life, like HTTP communication, which is a very common communication for web-based, for actually for accessing the web URL, then this kind of attack is a real possibility over there. Now let's look at what are the problems we faced here. The adversary, the hacker, was able to read data. He was not only able to read the data, but also modify the data. So he has caused problem to the integrity. So not only read, but also modify the data. As channel was unencrypted, so sender and receiver were not able to identify and authenticate each other. Moreover, there was no non-reputation because there was no authentication. Non-reputation is what? Ability to deny your actions. Like, for example, if this, for example, one of my engineers, she implemented a wrong change. I confronted her. She said, no, I didn't do it. So what I did, I retrieved the log and confronted her. So what she was doing in the first place? Reputation. But after I confronted her with the logs, she was not in a position to deny. So that is recalled as a non-repudiation. So a lot my times, if you are doing some communication, you see when you get a call, when you get a call some call center or banks and all, so they simply say it to you, sir, it is being recorded. Why? Because so that they can't deny that whatever they have said, if they have not said it. So non-repudiation. So these are the four problems you faced when you are not using cryptography. So what is cryptography? Cryptography is a study of securing communication and data using algorithms. Algorithms are what? Set of rules to prevent exposure to unintended parties. Means the people who are not supposed to receive a data or read a data, they should not get it. They should not be able to read it. So it's a science of transforming valuable information for secrecy. Like, for example, hi, welcome to XYZ postgraduate program on cybersecurity. So with the help of cryptographic algorithm and a key is also required. Key is, I will cover that in a minute. So with the help of cryptographic algorithm, the set of algorithms and a key, you will be able to convert it into a form so that no unintended person or no unauthorized person can read your data. So features of cryptography. I tell you one incident, not an incident, it was an interview of mine. Okay, so someone called me whether I was going through an interview and he told me, Ajit, tell me something about cryptography. I said, boss, you have to let me know that with due respect, you have to let me know which feature of cryptography you want me to talk about. He said, Ajit, I'm impressed because whenever I ask someone about cryptography, without giving a second thought, he start talking about encryption. And you are the first one who is not who has asked me this question. And trust me, in my 20 years career, you are the first one who is asking me this question that which feature of cryptography you want me to talk about. Whenever we think about cryptography, we only think about data confidentiality, that people will not be able to read the data. Unintended people should not be able to read the data. That is not correct. That is one of the features. So cryptography can make your data readable only to intended parties, confidentiality. Cryptography can help you in authentication of sender and receiver. So that is normally achieved through digital signature, which is another feature of cryptography. Then we have Then it can also ensure that the data has not been tampered. That is achieved through hashing, which is another cryptographic algorithm. Then it can also ensure that the data can no sender or receiver can deny receiving or accepting the data. So that is non-repudiation. So data confidentiality is being achieved through encryption, symmetric encryption normally. Then data authentication is being achieved through digital signatures. Data integrity is being achieved through hashing algorithms. Non-repudiation is being achieved through digital signatures or PKI. So these are different services of cryptography. I will not be able to go through in this 1 hour webinar. If you really want to learn all these services in detail, all these algorithms, processes in detail, we have a batch starting from 23rd of November. It's a 40 hours batch. You have to join that for going through all those things in detail. So solution strategy to solve the problem. So now let's come back to the previous problem that we face. So now earlier the session was unencrypted. It was being sent through a clear text format. But now you see same communication. Okay, Charles is there. Charles has sent his data in an encrypted form. So he has used algorithm and a key. So adversary is sitting in between with the help of Wireshark tool. He's gathering the data. He's still capturing the data, but it is like gibberish of words in the absence of keys. He can't do anything. That is what cryptography is all about. So cryptography here, adversary, what are the problems? What are the solutions here? You can have confidentiality. Hacker would not be able to read your data. Here you have integrity. Hacker will not be able to tamper your data. You can also have authentication and non-repudiation both. So that is why cryptography is important to all of us. So basic definitions of cryptography. So cryptography is the science of secret writing that enables an entity to store and transmit data in a form that is accessible only to intended individuals. Like for example, I have to send some data to you, an email, and I want that no one else should be able to read that. So what I can do, I can encrypt it and send it to you. If you have the necessary key, then you can only read that data. Crypto systems, the hardware or software which helps you in implementation of cryptography. Your browser, that is also your browser, your laptop, even your VPN devices like firewall, routers, anything which helps you in implementing a crypto system is helping in implementing a cryptography is a crypto system. Then what is cryptology? The study of both cryptography and analysis, the science of breaking it. So when you are creating your cryptography is what? Converting plain text into a form which no one can read it. So you have to apply some rules to it. Okay. Because it's not like randomly you go and just convert your data into ciphertext which no one can read, because you have to reverse it also. So you cannot do it in a random manner. You have to apply rules to it. So that rules are called algorithms. So whenever you are converting your plain text into ciphertext, especially in encryption, you require algorithm, a set of rules, and a key. Algorithm doesn't change quite often. Like for example, you are having a lock factory, physical lock factory. So you have created a die. Okay, you have created a die. You will create thousands of locks of the same dimension, same size. But does it mean that you will be able to open that lock with the same key? No. So same, that die is an algorithm, and only thing which you get changed is a key. So key is a string of bits which is used in cryptographic algorithm to transform your plain text into ciphertext. Always remember, in encryption, encryption is a reversible process, because at the sender side, you convert your plain text into ciphertext, which no one can read. Even the intended recipient can't read it in an encrypted form. So at the other side, at the receiver side, you have to decrypt it in order to process it. And for decryption, you require a correct set of a key. So cryptography around us, okay? One of the very common thing is WhatsApp. WhatsApp, there are two kinds of encryption, always remember. WhatsApp uses end-to-end encryption. So when you are sending data to the destination, at a high level, the packet consists of the actual data and the source and destination addresses. So WhatsApp uses end-to-end encryption, which means that it only encrypts the data. The destination and source address remains unencrypted, which means that if someone captures your data, he will not be able to see the data, but he will be able to see the where the data is headed to. Theoretically, it looks very good, but trust me, if I talk about my experience, I had talked about something very specific. Even I remember I didn't utter a single word. I was talking, I'm a teetotaler, I don't drink. So my friend was living in Canada. He was talking about some beer. I talked about what exactly is this. So the next moment, I got a ad related to that beer on Facebook. So although yes, it looks great, but there are people who have got access and you can't do much in it. Okay, I always believe in yes, don't get scared, but I believe in one thing: you are safe till someone has not decided to come after you. So WhatsApp provide end-to-end encryption. Theoretically, it is not reading the data, but somewhere down the line, it is reading the data. You know that WhatsApp competitor is Telegram. Telegram owner uh, was taken into custody in France. He's a Russian guy. So why he was taken into custody? Because he is not giving backend access to the Telegram encrypted messages. So you can see where the world is headed to. But yes, theoretically, they are not reading your data, and we should be happy with it. Then we use in e-bankings. Okay, financial institutions begin using so for doing our transactions. In ATMs, when we enter keypad, when we enter our passwords, the password is encrypted and sent it to the server because it shouldn't be sent in a clear text format. And the one-time password that you're receiving for doing multi-factor as a multi-factor authentication, that is also comes into an encrypted form. Then it is always advisable to not using http even in internal in your organization. If you're using http, because there is a concept these days, don't trust anyone, be it insider, be it outsider. Don't trust anyone. So even within the internal network, if you see your website using http connections, then that is not a good sign. So use https also uses cryptography. How HTTPS actually work, how packet exchange takes place, that I always cover in the class that is starting. So it is also being used for encrypting your disk, not only your hard disk of your computer, but it can also be used for storage hard disk. It can also be used for encryption of your mobile data. Okay, or even if you want to encrypt some specific file instead of a full disk encryption, if I talk about, is normally used in your organizations where you have a very popular software which we call as a BitLocker. Questions I will take at the end, mate, because I am not questions. You can write your questions. I will take it at the end. Then your passwords. When you set up your passwords are never stored in the clear text format. Here, it is not encrypted. There is another algorithm of cryptography which we call as a hashing. So here in your system, sometimes people say that now, okay, remember that old days, okay, if you want to get some information, get that red book of it, Lal Kitab, red book of people. So gone are the days. If you say, if you capture the password file of some person from the system, you will be able to know the passwords. No, it's not that easy. Passwords are stored in the form of hashes, which is another cryptographic algorithm, which ensures that even if someone gets access to the password files, he will not be able to do much things in it, many things with it, because he need to know the algorithm and everything. So this is about your cryptography. Okay, this is about your cryptographic things. Okay, give me a minute. Just 2 minutes, mate. Okay, so you have seen that, look, there are different kinds of algorithm available in cryptography. We have hashing, we have different kinds of cryptographic algorithms available. We have symmetric cryptography, we have asymmetric cryptography, we have digital signatures, hashing. Okay, so we cannot cover that thing over here because it's a very, very detailed things. So now we have seen the uses of cryptography. So now we can see what are the cryptographic vulnerabilities you can have. CA compromise. CA stands for Certificate Authority. Keys compromise, flawed implementation, outdated algorithms, side channel attacks, backdoor exploitations, random number generations, certificate revocation lists, secure key management, SSL stripping, SSL TLS downgrade, ransomware. These are some of the cryptographic vulnerabilities which you can have into the cryptographic systems. Because auditor role is mainly about finding the flaws, vulnerabilities, whether they have been taken care of, the implementation of it has been done in a proper manner or not. There is a concept which we call as PKI. Okay, PKI, which we call as a public key infrastructure. Suppose I approaches you directly and says that hey mate, I'm a trainer. Let's do a communication. You will say, who are you? I don't know you. Similarly, if you approaches me directly and says, hey, I want to study from me. So I will also look at with suspicious at you. But we are here in this session because GISA, you trust GISA counsel. So similarly, when we are doing a communication, we exchanges each other's keys. If we are known to each other, then we can trust each other's keys. But suppose two unknown parties try to communicate with each other. They may not trust each other. So there is a third party comes into action who attested the keys of these two parties. And that third party is called certificate authority. Suppose I approaches Raghav and says, hey, this is my key. Raghav says, fine, I don't know you. How can I trust you with that key? Then I say to Raghav, Raghav, this is the key which is being attested by GISA counsel. Then Raghav trusts GISA counsel. So Raghav will trust that key. But suppose someone compromises the GISA counsel only and start issuing some bogus keys. So that is what is a CA compromise. Lot many times you see, we get a passport, correct? Passport. It's a passport authority whose integrity you don't. You, it's not negotiable. But there are people who issues the fake passports. So that is the problem. When we talk about what is cryptography, a kind of a lock, and that lock you can open with a key. Trust me, lock without a key, lock if it is keys being compromised, if you want to open something, You don't look out for, you don't, what you look out for is a key related to that lock. So whole concept of security of a cryptography lies around keys only. So if keys are compromised, your security is compromised. Flawed implementations. Look, when we talk about cryptography, there are many things which are into play. Algorithms, strong algorithms, length of a key. The larger the length of a key, the more secure it is. Strong algorithm, keys, okay, the key length. So if one thing is compromised, you are gone. Suppose suppose you are using a Wi-Fi security. There is one algorithm called WEP, wired equivalence privacy. It is no more in use. So if your Wi-Fi is using that WEP, then no matter how strong your keys are, it will be compromised. So make sure that you have a good robust implementation of a cryptography. If you are using outdated algorithms, there are algorithms like DES, 3DES, similarly WEP for Wi-Fi, SHA, SHA, and SHA-1. These are different algorithms which we are using in cryptography. If we use a strong, weak cryptographic algorithms, then no matter how much strong keys or systems are, you are gone. Side channel attack. Sometimes it is look, sometimes it is not required to actively interact with the system. What you do, you are sitting on site, okay, looking at how much power it is consuming, how much time it is taking to process, how much electromagnetic radiation it is generating. Then, by carefully observing and studying these, you can compromise the encryption keys. What is backdoor? I give you one simple example of backdoor. For example, I am a thief and I'm able to manage, I'm able to break through one's house. Now, once I'm inside the house, I find out a lot of items, useful items are in that house. I want to have continued access. So I will create a temporary tunnel or loosen the hinges of the door or get the duplicate keys created so that I can enter whenever I want to enter. Same thing. If a hacker is able to manage a cryptographic system or any system, then he want to have continued access. That is we call as a backdoor implementation. Sometimes your flawed implementation can also give the backdoor access to the people. Random generations. Look, keys are the the strength of a cryptography depends on keys, and this is also depend on how random your keys are. If you're able to, you might have seen in movies, okay, if you're not randomly generated the keys, then just like lock my time, if you see the password is, sometimes people keep password 1 2 3 4 5 6. No, this is not a random generation, but at the same time people keep 1 9 something, so it's very difficult to break. So that's why keep, if you're not randomly generating the passwords, then keys generated would be weak and easily compromised. Similarly, look, lot my times. Okay, let's take an example. If you come across, if there is a government, there's a one guy called Snowden. Google it. There's a very good movie around him on his life, Snowden. Okay, Snowden. It's available on Netflix. So he is an American fugitive because America is very infamous. American government is very infamous for looking into the life of their people. So he was a contractor with CI. He made a lot of stunning revelations about US government. So while he was fleeing US and he was on his way to France, his passport was revoked and he got stuck in Russia. Similarly, when you are doing a normal communication. Lot many times you might have noticed that you are accessing some website. It says that no, the website certificate is not valid. So lot many times because of an XYZ reasons, like when you want to participate in cryptography, you need a keys. Keys are attested by a certificate authority, and this is all there in a certificate. Lot many times the certificate are revoked, like passports are revoked. Certificate is revoked because security is compromised and all. So it's your responsibility to check the validity of certificate. If certificate is revoked, and if you're using a revoked certificate, then again that's a problem. Then, as I already mentioned, keys cryptography is as secure as the keys. So you should be securing your keys properly. There are, just like in your laptop, there is a chip called TPM, that is Trusted Platform Module. Similarly, there is an external drive called HSM, Hardware Security Module, which is used for storing the keys. So you can use these technologies. SSL striping. SSL striping is an attack where attacker conducts an SSL downgrade attack. Okay, it's more like, suppose you are doing suppose you are doing an HTTP communication. You are trying to access a website. The person at the other side says, "No, no, no, I can't. My system, sir, my system is very insecure. I can't use HTTPS. Can we do the communication on HTTP? Because I'm an old system, my system doesn't support it." So it's like you want HTTPS communication, but the other side has striped off that your HTTPS communication to HTTP. SSL and TLS downgrade, kind of very similar to that. Here, suppose there are very strong algorithms like AES. Sorry, I'm taking these names because I assume that a lot of you know it. But yes, if you really want to come into detail, you have to join our class for it. Okay, so there are very strong algorithms. Suppose there is one strong algorithm called AES 128. It's a symmetric encryption algorithm available, which is used for cryptography. So I propose I am doing a communication. I'm about to do a secure communication. I negotiate. Sir, I will send you a data encrypted with AES 128. The other side is pretty very smart. He said, "Sir, please don't do that. I can do." Miss, I'm not saying that I will not be doing an encryption. I will do because SSL stripping is justly said, no, I can't do encryption. In SSL tells one, sir, I'm not saying I will not do encryption, but I will. So I can only support 3 deaths, which is 1 n minus 1 lower than AES 128. But yes, you don't have much choices. Then never ever transmit the data over insecure communication channels. There are protocols HTTP, FTP, Telnet, RTP, real-time transport protocol, VoIP, which exchanges the data in a clear text format. So please be careful about that. So these are some of the vulnerabilities which cryptography systems have. The causes of cryptographic vulnerabilities uses outdated cryptographic algorithms, generate insufficient, your systems are not generating random numbers. Okay. You are using a weak, sometimes, we come up with their own customized algorithms for it. No, don't use customized algorithm, use the standard one. And sometimes people use strong cryptographic algorithms, but when they are using the hardware cryptographic algorithms and come people got physical access to your HSM or TPM, then they can steal your data. So that is about your vulnerabilities and causes. What are the controls you can have? Stay up to date, use latest. I'm not saying that go for very high encryption algorithm. Have a fine balance between security and functionality. Because remember, as far as I know, because I've worked in industry, security is inversely proportional to functionality. If you increase the functionality, okay, if you increase the security, functionality takes a hit. So try to have a fine balance between security and functionality. I cannot have this one algorithm called RSA, which takes a lot of processing power. I cannot have, just for security purpose, I cannot have RSA implemented on my mobile. For that, we have different algorithm. Leverage a strong algorithm, but again, as I told you, have a balance between security and functionality. Make sure that keys are secured properly and prioritize your physical security also. Like the boxes where you are storing the keys that should be physically secured. Look, there are three states of a data at rest, data in transit, data in use. Data at rest, when your data is stored on your hard drive, USB drive. So whenever your data is being stored at rest, like your hard drive, use encryption, like we use full disk encryption for it. Like right now, I'm talking to you, it is data in transit. Suppose I have my data available on Google Drive. So that is what data at rest. When you download that data from the Google Drive to your system, that is we call as a data in transit. For that, we can use cryptographic algorithm processes like IPsec, TLS. You must have heard about it. Then there is another state called data in use. So this is the phase, this is the place where data is very vulnerable because even if you have encrypted the data, for using it, you have to you have to decrypt it, and that is what makes it vulnerable. But these days industry has come up with an algorithm called homomorphic algorithm and confidential computing, which can even homomorphic encryption, which can even process your data in an encrypted form. So whenever in all the three states, be it data at rest, data in transit, and data in use, please ensure that you use the cryptography. Now, the main important part, what is the auditor's role in cryptography? Cryptography, as I've already mentioned, is a cornerstone of your secure information system, protecting sensitive data during transmissions, storage, and processing. So, you see, I told you about there are three states of a data at rest, data in transit, data in use. So, it's all about protecting sensitive data during transmission, data in transit, storage data at rest, and processing data in use. So IS auditor main role is to ensure that the cryptographic systems they are using are correctly implemented, secure and compliant with the regulations. So its main role is to review cryptographic algorithms and protocols, to review key management practices and compliance with standards and regulations. So key responsibility of IS auditor in cryptography. Okay, give me a minute. First and foremost thing is evaluating cryptographic algorithms. So look, there are different algorithms available. Like symmetric encryptions, you have 3DES, AES. For Wi-Fi security, you have other different algorithms. For email security, we have different algorithms. Like for example, if you are using full data at rest, for that, we use symmetric encryption. If auditor come across any algorithm like DES or 3DES, which is an outdated technology. For integrity, if they come across some algorithm like SHA-1, it's a outdated or MD5 outdated technology. If you see TLS 1.1 or SSL in data in transit, that is an outdated technology. So look out cryptographic algorithm that you're using and make sure that they don't have vulnerabilities or you're not using any outdated technologies. How they are implemented, review the implementation of cryptographic protocols. Look, a cryptographic algorithm is as secure as the keys. So make sure that keys are kind of a passwords. How you are generating the keys, how you are storing the keys, what kind of devices you are using, who have access to those devices, and how you are rotating the keys. And verifying, look, there are compliance standards like NIST, PCI DSS, ISO. So what are the standards? They have mentioned the standards, so whether you're complying with those standards or not, and conducted risk assessment, and review the cryptographic incident response process. So, like how you will review the cryptographic algorithms. So, there are you should be having knowledge of algorithms. Trust me, without that, how can you find it out that which algorithm is? You need to know the detailed working of cryptography. And that is why, and these things are very much included in your CISA, CFSP courses and all. So you need to understand what are the algorithms, how it works, which of them are obsolete, which of them are latest in use. So like at present, if you talk about symmetric encryption algorithm, AES is very commonly used. If you talk about asymmetric encryption algorithm, RSA ECC is being used. Then if you talk about your integrity algorithm, it is like you should be using SHA-2 algorithms. You should be aware of what are the different algorithms which are weak. It should be identified and flagged for any replacement. Implementation is very, very critical. Suppose you are using a strong encryption algorithm, but it is not implemented properly. You're not able to, people have physical access to it, people can easily find out the processing power and all, then that is of no use. So security, I always believe in one thing, that security is as strong as one weak link. So please don't believe anything, any weak link in it. Then, as I told you, it also there are cryptographic protocols available. So audit the protocols like SSL, TLS, or IPsec to verify they are secure. Ensuring strong communication for data in transit. There is an attack called man-in-the-middle attack. Data in transit, like I'm communicating with you. Someone is sitting. Suppose I'm using an HTTP communication. So if I'm using an HTTP communication, someone is here. Remember in the beginning, that was man-in-the-middle attack. The example that I started with, that was an example of man-in-the-middle attack. So if a hacker is sitting if you're using protocols like HTTP, FTP, or if you are using a weaker protocols like SSL. SSL is not at all secure these days. Even if you use, there is a protocol called algorithm called DES. If you're using those things, and there is a Wi-Fi protocol, security protocol called WEP. Within 10 less than WEP, if I talk about, within less than 10 seconds, you can get to know the keys. So if you are using especially the data in transit, make sure that you use strong encryption. Otherwise, it could be a problem. And make sure that, look, certificates are very important. Okay. What is certificate? I just show you what is certificate. Give me a minute. Okay. So if you see, look, go to see this one, connection is secure. Okay. Uh, you can see this is what a certificate is. This is what a certificate, you see certificate. This is version as of now X.509. So certificate is of X.509 standard, which has a public key and identification information of user in it. So you can see this is the version, this is a serial number which is specific to certificate authority. This is the algorithm the way of which they are using. Look, SHA-256 with RSA encryption, and this is issuer. Like it is certificate authority is very much similar to a passport authority, passport officer. And you see this certificate is valid for certain duration. So this is the person to whom the certificate is being issued. So it is being issued to subject PKI authority. Then you see here, this is okay. This is your certificate authority, subject key ID, Zoom. And as I talked about certificate revocation list, so lot my time the certificates are being revoked. So this is being maintained in a certificate revocation list. So this is very important. Okay. So all those things we would be covering in our coming class. So checking for certificate management, that how you are managing the certificates. Otherwise, it could lead to vulnerabilities like Heartbleed or logjam. So as I already mentioned, key is means your Okay, it is as good as cryptography is as good as your keys you are trying to manage. Like for example, if you have a house, you have a lock. If you're not able to manage your lock properly, if you're not able to keep, you always try to keep your keys secure. So if you're not able to manage your keys, then it would be a problem for you. Give me a minute. uh yeah. Yeah. Okay, so if you're not able to protect your keys, then your lock is of no use. So make sure that you are generating your keys using random number generators. It is very similar to like if you are not using random, it is very similar to keeping password like 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, keep your keys secure into HSMs, hardware security modules. Regularly rotate the keys and dispose of the keys properly. And make sure that in HSM, wherever your keys are stored, people are not given easy access to that. So these are some of the things which auditors has to do. And then it also has to ensure that it is the cryptographic that you are using, it is compliance with cryptographic standard. This is very subjective things, right? It all depends upon which compliance standards, which cryptographic standard you have to comply with. There are NISTs, PCI DSS, GDPR. It all depends upon the organization compliance. Normally, as an auditor, what I check is I ask them to show me the cryptographic standards document. Okay, and then I also see the implementation. I also check their key managements, BitLocker, all those stuff. This is a very subjective thing. Okay, I always say audit is a science as well as an art. I've seen people, okay, technological people, they always go with science, but auditor, if you want to be an auditor, you have to, it's not only you have to take a pragmatic approach. It's not always, life is not always about black and white. It's always gray. So auditor role is also acting only, and it comes with experiences. Okay. So these are the things which auditor has to check as an auditor. So then you also need to look at the cryptographic protocols auditing. Make sure that you are not using any, you are not using any, I would say, protocol which is obsolete. Okay, you should also look at the incident response processes of it. So with this, I conclude with this, the topic is concluded. I will take your question answers. Look, this is just a glimpse of what is there for you in a coming batch. This is just 5, 6, 7, I would say 20 slides I have covered. When we talk about CISA, especially, okay, in CISA course, yes, you do have cryptography in detail, okay, in there, but we in our courses, we cover cryptography in complete detail. It is around 150 slides. Normally, we cover symmetric, asymmetric, digital signatures. Because as an auditor, you need to understand that how these things works in a real world, then only you will be able to perform an audit. If I'm not aware of what is symmetric cryptography, what is asymmetric cryptography, why is hashing used for, what is key management, then tell me how can I be an auditor? And these days, demand of technical auditors are all-time high because technologies is taking care of everything. You will technology has penetrated into every field of it, so there is no way you can escape from technology. So yep, there is a very great demand for an audit to fulfill, and there is a great gap in cybersecurity professionals in supply and demand. Look, there are people who are doing courses, but you have to be very, very focused. You have to take a very focused approach for it. So from 23rd of November, we are starting a CISA batch. Okay, it would be 40 hours batch. It's in the morning, 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. IST. It's a 40 hours live online training. I will be taking it. There are 5 domains which I will be covering in another 2 minutes. I'm taking you through. You will be getting 40 hours CP certificate, 5 mock tests, and access to the recorded lectures. So there are 5 domains in CISA, okay, and these are separate world in itself. Domain one, these 5 domains we will cover in detail. Domain one talks about IS audit process, okay. It talks about risk management. It talks about computer-based auditing techniques, okay, which is a new thing, continuous online auditing. It talks about sampling. Domain two is more about governance and risk management. Domain three is about project management, SDLC, software development lifecycle. Domain four is about networking, ITIL processes, BCPDR. Domain five is about your total network security. If I look at the concentrations of it, domain 4 and 5, it constitute 50% of your exam. That's why I covered these domains in great detail. So you see it over here, 23 and 27% is 50% is what the total concentration of it. Okay. So CISA exam, okay, they are prepared with the aim of gauging and testing the hands-on skills in the information system controls and audit. It's a 4-hour online exam covering 150 multiple choice questions covering 5 practice area. You have to score 450 and high, 450 out of 800 to pass. It's a multiple choice exam. There is no negative marking for it. Okay, exam result will be given then and there only. Once you clear the examination, okay, you have to apply. You have 5 years to apply for certifications. I would say don't wait for 5 years. As soon as you clear the examination, if you have an experience, then apply for the certification and follow CPs and compliance with IS auditing standards. So that is all from my side. Any questions? Now I'm free to, you can ask me the questions about it. Any questions? I'm there to answer it. Please. Uh, where can I see the questions there? Okay. Any questions for anyone? I can't see much questions here. Right now I can't, but look, Syed, when you do the course, there we will be covering in detail. CAT, computer-based assisted techniques, are not like this is the name. Even Excel is also called as a computer-based auditing technique, mate, Syed. Okay. Any further questions, anyone? It's 23rd November.
I've just shared the link of the GISA Council website. You can go there and see the details as well.
Any questions about your career, compliance career, anything, you can ask me. No, I would be taking the class, this one, SAM US. Any questions about compliance career, anything, you can ask me. Okay, Raghav, I think we are good to close the call if we don't have any questions. Karthik, you have a great scope. Definitely, look, there is a great demand for auditing professional in today's world. So when you're already into 12 years of IT experience and 6 years of audit experience, so yes, you have a great demand because these days we do have a great demand for an auditor in cloud, IoT is everything. So when you do CISA, it proves your credentials for auditing, and there is a great demand for auditing professional in today's world. Any further questions? So Raghav, over to you, mate.
Okay, now
Okay.
so we can wind up the class as of now.
Okay.
Okay, thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for
Thank you.
joining it. Thank you. Bye.